Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Real Talk, the monthly conversation where Chris and I talk with one of our previous guests or listeners and let them tell their story. This time we have Tawny Platis from the Dirty Bits podcast with us, and we're going to chat with her a little bit about her struggles with mental health. So thanks for coming on and talking to us, Tawny.
Thank you for having me. I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back.
Yes, there will be probably less talk about bear mace in this episode. Am I correct in that thinking?
That's where it all began.
Well, we'll get to that then.
And I'm your best friend, number 2, Chris Grimmett, because he didn't introduce me.
You can do it on this episode, but you can't do it on the regular show. I didn't introduce myself. I said Chris and I.
Oh. Oops. I wasn't
All
listening.
right.
I'll do better at that for you, Tawny.
So, for those of you that are new, and since this is still a fairly new thing we're doing, just a little bit about how these episodes work. On the first Monday of every month, we're going to release one of these episodes in addition to the regular episode on Thursday. So that is still coming this Thursday. We will be sitting down with folks for a little bit more of a serious conversation about their individual experiences with mental illness and or mental health. We will then continue the conversation over on Patreon as an exclusive episode for those who donate $5 or more. I only say that because I don't want you to think this is a paywall. You're going to get the whole story here, and if you would like to hear our conversation about it, you can head over to Patreon, and we'll be having that there, and we'll be discussing our feelings on what we talked about and things like that. So we're going to dive right in. Tawny, where's this all start other than bear mace?
So I am going to... I'm so terrible at this being on the spot, but I make light of that everywhere.
We get it.
I'm nervous. I get nervous when I'm like, I know I'm not live, but it's like, it's not scripted.
Mm-hmm.
Just be you.
So, I'm a performer. I don't even know what that means.
Be me. How about that? Be me. And I'll be Tawny.
I've mentioned this actually a little bit kind of here and there in the Is This Adulting Best Friends Facebook group, which is so lovely because it has so much support. There's so many wonderful people in there, and it's been a huge part of my progress in mental health. This year I actually started getting help for my eating disorder and body dysmorphia. I'm a fun little bag of tricks, so that's just one little part of it that we'll be focusing on today. But yeah, it goes back to when I was 4 years old, and that was, in the early 90s, so there wasn't really a whole lot of help and awareness like there is now with eating disorders, and the earliest memory I have of it was being, I think it may have been even earlier than 4 actually, but I was in a little bikini, and I was like a toddler age, and I remember looking at my stomach and like trying to suck it in the mirror. And I was like, why does my stomach stick out? Why am I so like they called it like poochy, like we have a poochy belly. And I was like, I don't know if I can wear this bathing suit because my stomach's so big. And, those were like, I always remember having those thoughts. And I always remember comparing myself to like Disney princesses and how small they were and how, pretty they were and how delicate they were. And I grew up in a family that was very athletic, and everybody was like soccer players, gymnasts, BMX people, and they were all very small people to begin with, and they were all extremely physically fit. And I was not particularly athletic myself. I don't find sports interesting. Playing them doesn't really appeal to me. I'm much more a creative person. And I didn't feel that I really got a whole lot of understanding and support. And that was kind of across the board with my siblings after speaking to them with that too. Right. There was a lot of pressure to be really like athletic, to be really small. There was a lot of monitoring over what we were eating. There was a lot of control over what we were eating, a lot of when we were allowed to eat, what we were allowed to eat, a lot of fat shaming, pointing at other people like, oh God, that's like what happens when you don't exercise. It's what happens when you eat like crap. If you eat well and you exercise, it's so easy, and you'll be, and you'll look good, and you want to look good, and a lot of pressure put on appearances. And it kind of started through this like binge starvation cycle when I was fairly young. I would I'd sneak food and I'd eat it, and I was, you go through puberty and you get a little, you get a little round, you get a little pudgy, and then you usually shoot up, and everything kind of like levels out as you get older. And that's kind of what was going on. Is I wasn't unhealthy, I don't think. I think it was just kind of I was kind of like chubby, like normal, little round little kid. And kids at school made fun of me because I've always had like my stomach is very convex as opposed to concave. Like if you look at models or anything, or I grew up in Southern California in kind of a wealthier neighborhood, but we weren't very affluent compared to like other friends. My parents were a lot younger. Their parents were a lot older. So it was very different. And the kids at school like made fun of me, a lot of pressure on appearances and stuff here. I remember seeing somebody passed a note to somebody saying like, oh, look at her stomach. It hangs over her pants. It's so gross. And we were in 7th grade, and that was something that was just so like important, was appearances and how you look. And I had acne and my teeth were fucked up. Oh, can I say that on the show?
Yeah, you can. It's okay.
Okay. Like I was really gawky and like awkward. And, so, it was like this binge thing and, wanting candy and wanting cookies. And like, I have spoken to my therapist and she thinks that I'm one of those people that has that like sugar addiction where it's like, if there's cupcakes, if there's like a tray of cupcakes and it's not going to upset anybody, I'll finish off that tray of cupcakes. Like I love sugar. I love carbs. I love cheese, like all that stuff. So, there was kind of that, and then it would be like, oh, I don't want to eat because I just ate all this, crap, and now I can't eat for a day. And that was like really back and forth for a long time until I got into high school, and I just started drinking just insane amounts of coffee because, I don't know if this is like common knowledge or not, but it makes you full, and then it also makes you like pass everything.
Yeah.
So, so that just kind of started that cycle, and I went from being like, between 130, 140 pounds, I dropped down to 115 within a couple of months, just, having an apple and coffee and diet soda every day. And that, so when I was 18, I was, 5'5", 115 pounds, and then all of a sudden everybody's coming out of the woodworks wanting to date me, and I'm like, oh, this is what happens. Like, it's like all those cute guys that ignored me for so long, like now I'm pretty enough, now I look good. And it just like, it spiraled after that. And I owned a business and the eating disorder was out of control. And I felt like I couldn't get help for it because I was so busy. Like when you own like a brick and mortar, like you're there, even if you're not physically there, you're still working 7 days a week, at least 12 hours a day. You're always on. And I'm like, it kind of like fostered that too, where it was an excuse for me not to eat. I didn't have time. I was so busy. I didn't have time to eat.
Yeah.
And then I started obsessively working out, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse as the years went on. And like, I didn't really have a whole lot of people that were supportive, and I felt like really reached out. Maybe they did, and I was just so far gone that I didn't see it. But I got down at one point in 2014. I was 95 pounds.
Goodness.
And it just, and I was with George at the time, and he just kind of like took me aside and he was like, you're gonna die, like you can't do this anymore. My kidney failed. I have permanent kidney damage now from everything that I did, not eating, and you're not there's a lot of things that go into it, but it does a lot of damage on your organs. And now I was hospitalized for that on and off for 3 months one summer. And I have permanent damage that I have to live with every day because of that. I'm in a lot of pain all the time. That's a consequence from that. And George was the one that finally took me aside, and he was like, you're killing yourself. You're going to die. And he was like, I can't just stand by and like watch you do this. And that's when I like it was such a long process. That's when we were like our first like couple of years together, and I was back and forth a long time with that. And this past year, it was like August of 2017, I want to say, around then, I finally, after doing like, they have something called Overeaters Anonymous, but it's really for everybody that has eating disorders. I had tried that, anything that was like less intensive, and I'd finally come to the conclusion, like it affects you in every way too. It affects your brain. It affects everything. Like no matter how skinny I was getting, it was like I still can't wrap my hands around my thighs, and that's when I'm going to be skinny enough, is when I can wrap my hands around my thighs. I'm going to be skinny enough once my waist is as small as Scarlett's in Gone with the Wind. You know, like I need to at least have a 20-inch waist. Like, you know, it's 24 inches. This is huge. This is disgusting. You know, I'm looking up stats constantly, like comparing myself to other people, and I was like, I need to be perfect, and that's a lot of what ties into it is perfectionism. And it finally like got so bad with just like my mental state and not being able to like function, that I was able to, with a lot of encouragement from George and his parents, I was able to finally reach out and get help with something called dialectical behavior training. And it's amazing. If anybody has any struggles with an eating disorder, it is truly, truly incredible. It's one of the only things that's been proven to work effectively. And it was hard to hear because you go in and you're labeled, you know, it's like high risk. And that was really hard. I was very emotional about it. It was really difficult. It's a really hard process because it ties in with a lot of other stuff. I also have PTSD, and it helps with that, as well as with like the dysmorphia, you know, seeing myself how I actually look like, because, you know, nobody who is 5'5" and is 100 pounds or around there is overweight, you know, and that's just how I saw myself. And I still struggle with that. But with the behavioral therapy, it changed. It wasn't overnight, but over the last like 6 months, it was something that has changed my life so dramatically. And it's not like I'm completely fine now and it's never a struggle, but it feels like I'm getting to be at a point where I have that part of my life under control. And it's so hard. It's so hard to go through, and it's extremely intensive therapy. It's a lot of homework. It's a lot of revisiting why you are the way you are. It's a lot of, like, they call it checking the facts, and, you know, sitting down and like doing that hard work. And I'm finally at a healthy weight, and it's been awesome. It's a lot. Yeah, I'm finally in that range of like being like fit and not like malnourished. My like health stats are starting to kind of normal out. Like it's been really incredible. It was life-changing for me, and it's been something so recent, and I'm just kind of realizing as I'm talking about it, I'm like, I've come so far in 6 months. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's, I mean, it's still a daily struggle, but it's like, and I feel like that's kind of how it is for a lot of us. It's like that stuff never really totally goes away. I don't think you're ever really like cured, and you don't really have to deal with it anymore. And there's still hard days. It's still there, but I have the tools to like take care of it. So if things start to get overwhelming, if I know now when I'm like going down that path, and I can stop and I can correct it. And I'm like, I didn't have that before. And what's so sad is like it was always there. It's like I could have gone and gotten that help, but it's so fucking hard to take that first step and like admit, because you don't want to. You don't want to get better, like with an eating disorder. I don't know how it is. Like I can't speak for other mental health challenges, but with an eating disorder, it's like all you want is to be skinny. Why would I ever go talk to somebody who's going to prevent me from being skinny?
Yeah, definitely.
You know. So yeah, I think it saved my life. I was definitely on the fast track back to that underweight mark, and it makes your life miserable. It affects your body in so many ways beyond what people think. And so yeah, that's my story.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for letting me share it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could not speak to something like that, you know, and Chris and I, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it on the Patreon thing. Chris and I are both individuals that have dealt with body image issues, but never to any sort of extent that was probably harmful. Maybe myself a little bit in college.
Sure.
When I dropped that 100 and something ridiculous pounds in a year, because I was just not taking care of myself. But anyway, we can talk about that a little more over there. But I think in our effort to really break stigma on what qualifies as mental illness and how people cope with it and how they deal with it, talking like this is extremely important.
I agree, and I think that with a lot of it too, I'm sure this speaks to a lot of mental health challenges. It's you feel so guilty and ashamed for having them, because like you guys always mention that stigma. It's like, we don't treat mental health in the same way as physical health. If somebody has pneumonia, like, oh, you're sick, here's medicine, let's take care of you. And it's like, you have an eating disorder. I've had people just tell me to my face, like, they're like, I wish I had an eating disorder. I'm like, do you? I'm like, because it's fucking miserable. Because because people don't think about what ties into that. They're like, oh, you're not hungry? I'm like, no, I hate myself. That's where this comes from. I look in the mirror and I see everything wrong with me. I see fuzzy hair. I see huge teeth. I see pale skin. I see acne. I see, I see my thighs are too big. My stomach's too big. My hips are too big. My waist is too short. It's so obsessive. Like, it was at one point, I know how I could tell you the calories in every food. I'm like, oh, half a cup of blueberries has, 20 calories. A mushroom has 2 calories. Like, everything was memorized. It was so obsessive. And so life-consuming, and it prevents you from living your life so much. And it sounds like such, like, for lack of a better description, I feel like a lot of people think of it as this, like, bougie kind of illness. It's like, which I am. I'm, like, the stereotype for that. I'm a middle-class white girl, and it's like, oh, boo-hoo, do you have an eating disorder? I feel so bad for you. Oh, you don't like the way you look. And it's like, I don't want to have this. I don't want to feel like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting how often... just we talked about this in the previous episode, Stephen, just about like societal pressures and how much of a role that can kind of play in things. And yeah, I'm just super glad that you were able to get help. And I've said this before, and I will probably continue to say it whenever we're on the Real Talk episodes, of just the way that we help ourselves and the way that we help others is when you start speaking it out loud, it starts losing its power over you. That's the biggest thing. There's shame involved with being afraid to admit it. And I think that, a lot of people, if they were to see you or see a picture of you, it's amazing how often it reminds me of those like Dove commercials. If those ones where other people describe you and you describe yourself or whatever, that type of thing. And so most people might not make the assumption that you struggle with any of those type of things, because it's like, oh, she's such a pretty young lady, blah 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 blah, and then realizing, oh wait, they struggle with that too. It's something that can be both humbling, but also healing, of realizing that what we talk about so much, I'm not alone in that. You're not alone in that. So we're just grateful that, one, you were honest, and two, that you're here. That's important for us. And not just on the show, but you're here on Earth. And we're really glad that you had people in your life like George, who is just one handsome cutie, both inside and out, that was there to be there. So we're excited.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's hard to talk about, because especially in our line of work, a lot of us, we're in entertainment. We have a public image. Like, I'm a voiceover actor and I'm a coach. And so there's kind of this, like, what's appropriate to talk about and what's not appropriate to talk about, and what you want to, like, align yourself with. And people make those judgments and assumptions. So it's scary, because it's like, you put yourself out there and it's like, oh, I heard her talking about this on this show, and then I also want to, like, trust her to do my voiceover. And I feel like there is that stigma with it, where it's like, oh, she's mentally ill, so I can't, is she going to do this right? Is she crazy? Like, there's a lot of those assumptions that go into it. The attention seeking one too, like you mentioned that, where it's like they see a picture of me and somebody might go, oh, that's a pretty girl. Yeah. And I just hear everything that I heard in, like, elementary school, junior high. Like, that's still how I see myself. I don't see myself how people have said to me, unless it's something that I just naturally agree with that's negative. So if somebody's like, damn, you got big teeth, I'm like, yeah, I know, right? Or if it's like, oh, you have, like, a little belly or something, it's like, yeah, for sure I do. But if somebody's like, wow, you're really pretty, I'm just like, what do you want? I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, what is it that you're trying to get? Because there's no way anybody would say something like that to me. And I think that people, like, it's almost, they don't believe that, where it's like there's like a little bit of cognitive dissonance in there, because somebody will tell me that, and then somebody else will say oh, well, she's, she looks like this, she looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's as hard as you think it is. I was going to say, I think a lot of people probably can relate to that. So based off what you just said, I'm going to take a second, and Chris is not here, and I'm not going to talk to the other listeners either. If you want to skip ahead a minute or whatever, listeners, you can do that. I'm going to talk to Tawny.
I'll see you all in the future. I'll be gone as well.
Yeah. Tawny is my family. Tawny is one of the first people that I met podcasting that I made a connection with and actually became good, close friends with. And Tawny is family. And so I'm going to talk to Tawny for a second. And the only reason I'm doing this on something that's being released is so that you can go back and listen to it again. Because you so often forget things that I tell you when it's a conversation that we're having and then it's gone. So this isn't going anywhere. I'm going to talk to you now in front of all these people. Sorry, everyone, because I want you to be able to listen to it again. And so you are one of the most fucking beautiful people that I know, period. And I want you to know that. Okay? And it's not in any way your appearance. You are a badass boss. And you exude such confidence, and I want to be you. I mean, I see you and I'm like, damn, why am I not that good at everything in the world? Because you're so badass. I was scared of you when I first met you. Because I was like, one, she could probably kick my ass. Two, this girl knows what she wants and she knows what she's about. And whether you see that in yourself or not, it is there. And I am proud to call you a friend. And I am not after anything. I want nothing from you. You should know that by now. But you are also a physically beautiful human being. But the real beauty in you is your confidence that you have, whether I think you know it or not, and just your drive and motivation. The things that make you a boss. Because, good Lord, I wish I had a little bit of that in me. So, everyone can come back now. That was me talking to friend Tawny. I just wanted to talk to you for a second. That's going to be there so you can listen to it again. Because I know you, and I know at points you're going to want to hear that. And even if you don't want to hear it, listen to it. Because you're like me, and when people say nice things, you don't take it well. When people tell me nice things, I'm just like, oh, shut up. Like, I don't, you're fuck you. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. But I know what I'm talking about. Because it's my feelings, and I'm allowed to feel my feelings and think the way I think about people. So, you're the one that always tells me to feel my feelings. You're the one that always tells me that I'm not giving myself enough credit because I'm not feeling how I feel. And so you're allowed that too. And just remember that. So yeah, I wasn't trying to upset you in any way. I just want you to know that you're a wonderful human being, and I am so glad to call you friend, and I'm so glad that you felt comfortable enough to come on and talk about that, because I know it's hard for you. And so thank you for that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And listen to this 1,000,000 times over, because you need to instill that in your head, because it's all truth.
Agreed. Okay? See, I ditto. See, I did something just as emotional as Steven did. Also, y'all can't see it right now, but she's got these badass bangs that we are loving. We did, y'all.
Before we recorded this, we did talk a lot about Tawny's bangs.
I'm about to grow me out some bangs. I'm going to keep the rest of my hair nice and short, but I'm going to grow out Tawny bangs as well. Actually, that would make me look so disgusting.
It would. You would essentially become like, I'm thinking Tawny bangs is going to be the Rachel.
Oh my god!
Like the new hairstyle that everybody wants.
It's like Billy Ray Cyrus, but backwards.
No, that's your hairstyle. That would be the Grimmett, and nobody wants that. Anyway.
We love you, Tawny.
We do.
Thank you. I love you guys, and I was sobbing uncontrollably, so I couldn't speak there for a few minutes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted you to have that. As
I didn't. I didn't prepare you for that. I wasn't expecting that, so I couldn't prepare you for that. But yeah, no. If I get anything like that, just it's huge to me because I don't feel that way about myself. And you guys all see like the picture that's presented on social media and everything, and it's like that's not reality at all. You know, like I have a breakdown probably every day to, you know, a lesser or greater extent than the previous day. Some days are easier, some days are harder, but it's like I'm constantly stressed out. I'm constantly freaking out, and I think I've told you this before, Stephen. Like I think everybody hates me. Like I think everybody hates me. So like that just like that. I want you to know how big of an, obviously you can look at you're seeing my face right now, so you know the effect it had on me. But like that's like that kind of stuff is life changing to me. Like, thank you. I mean, like, we bonded so quickly, like, with podcasting and, you know, both being Greek and everything. Like, I'm so serious when I say you're you're my brother, and I feel like you're my brother, and I love you, and that means the world to me that you said that, and you went out of your way to make sure that I could listen to it over. I'm gonna cry.
No, and you know what? The person that has the meltdown every day and is so stressed that everybody hates them, you know you're talking about me too, right?
I know. That's one of the reasons we get along so well.
We are very much similar in that fashion. I think everyone hates me, and I put out this like confident vibe whenever I can, but I'm really hurting on the inside a lot of times, and I really don't feel like I'm good enough. But you know what? Something I need to remember and something you need to remember, and we can remember it together if we need to, is that does not negate your beauty. That's so true for you, because I give you these same talks all the time. It does not negate your confidence. You are confident whether you realize it or not. Just because you have a breakdown every day doesn't make you weak. It means you feel things. Like, you're allowed to feel things. So, like, remember, like, it doesn't negate your beauty. Like, keep that fire, keep that spark, because it's contagious. Like, it's this, like, really powerful thing that you possess as a human being. Like, why not share it with everyone, you know? And I think you do an excellent job of that. So like, do it, kick ass.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to feel that way, because I don't. There's like when people say I'm confident, I'm like it's all fake.
Tawny, here's what I'm gonna say to you then. I'm gonna, as my encouragement to support you in growing in more confidence, if you don't start being confident, then I am going to grow out my bangs. Just my bangs. Nothing else. And then I might actually look more like your Greek brother as well if I just have a buzz cut with really long bangs up front.
Can you tell that Chris tries to bring some lightness to...
I'm going to torment the world.
It's appreciated. Thank you.
With my disgusting haircut if you aren't confident in yourself. So
it's so true, though. It's like I tell my students that, too. Like, I teach voiceover, and there's this one student that I have in particular who I'm going to send this to so that student can hear it, and an incredible talent, just like the most incredible talent, and it's all confidence that's holding that student back. I'm like, you could be like doing these huge jobs. You're such an incredible voice talent, and like just they get so caught up in like the audition process and like the reaching out process and just having that confidence and taking the next step. And I'm like, you're so incredible, you're so amazing. And there's so many of my students that have that issue, and I'm like, I have such a hard time applying, or what do you say, practicing what I'm preaching, you know. Definitely. And that was very enlightening, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, would you like to tell people who are coping with similar things, do you have any resources as far as like where they can go, or if there's just, even if you don't have specific resources like on a national level, just like what they can be looking for?
Absolutely. For me, what really helped was DBT. It's dialectical. I'm a voice actor. I talk for a living, I promise, guys. Dialectical behavior therapy. It's incredible. I'm very much like, I love things that are based in science, based in fact. It's actually proven to work. Eating disorders are one of, if not the highest mental illness with a mortality rate. So it's incredibly important to get help for it. And it can be tough to find DBT, but there's also, the book is on Amazon with all of the worksheets that you can get if you can't get access to that therapy one-on-one. It's like $35, so it's not crazy or anything expensive. But that did change my life for me, was DBT. It worked for me when nothing else would. So that's my recommendation if you're in San Diego. DBT, Bonnie Deluxe Psychology. If we have any listeners in San Diego, I can speak for them personally. They were incredible. They helped me so much. That would be my main resource that I would offer to people. That's just been like the biggest form of help for me.
Cool. And like we tell everybody, and we're going to tell everybody at the end of this episode, just like at the end of every one of these Real Talk episodes, if you are coping with mental illness, you are not alone. Please reach out to a mental health professional if you need help coping, or if you are in immediate crisis, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. And you don't have to be suicidal for that. They will just talk to you. If you just really need someone to talk to and to feel like you're not alone, they will talk to you. Or hell, go to our Facebook group and talk to people in there. Like people, not if you're in immediate crisis. If you're in immediate crisis, please seek immediate attention. But if you just need somewhere to be heard, like, come on over. You're going to be heard. It's This Adulting Best Friends. And we are happy to be a place where you can be heard. And I just want to say that at the end of every episode. We're going to continue this conversation very briefly over as an exclusive episode for our supporters on Patreon. So if you would like to be a part of that, head over to patreon.com/isthisadulting. You can sign up. I think it's the $5 level or more. You receive all our bonus content twice a month. Once a month is this, and then the other once a month is us being ridiculous about something, I'm sure. So we're going to go do that. But thanks for listening, best friends, and we'll see you on Thursday.